The king in the north! The king in the north!
Yo, as always, like, share, subscribe. Now let's just get into it. Now, before I even get into the topic today, I want to apologize about my last video I made. I was talking about the rankings and I said we were up to 23rd. And I saw that on another site, but everybody goes by 24/7 and they still had us at 45th, I think. I think we're up to 36 on 24/7 now. But the meat and bones of what I was talking about wasn't exactly the ranking. It's other schools, the recruits they have. A lot of schools, even though we're at 35th or 36th right now, schools in front of us have 14 3-stars, 1 4-star, 15 3-stars. So the point of the video was the more 4-stars we get, we're going to pass all those teams with 14 and 15 and 16 3-stars. They got classes made. They just have dudes that are verbally committing that are 3-stars. So they just have a lot of commits, but they're not actually highly touted players. That's the point. That was the point of it. But people got so caught up on the ranking, they missed the meat and the bones of it, which was me talking about teams ahead of us having just a bunch of 3-stars. But it's neither here nor there. I just wanted to apologize for that. You know, you can always pull it up and, make your own idea or whatever. But you pull it up and you'll see what I was talking about is facts on that. But the actual ranking, I was wrong on. So I apologize. But now let's get into this. I wanted to go over Michigan's running game. Now I'm going to do position groups. Most of the skill position groups, I'm going to start going over those. So I'm going to start with the running backs. I'll probably do receivers next and so on and so on. So Michigan loses Hassan Haskins, who had 1,300 yards and 20 TDs. That's a lot of touchdowns. So that's a lot of production you're losing from a bell cow. And I get people that don't really know the program too well, and they'll say like, oh, Blake Coram, he came in and he just did jet sweeps and reverses. He came in when the defense was tired. You couldn't be further wrong. You couldn't be wronger. That's just false. Blake Coram and Hassan Haskins split carries majority of the season. Hassan Haskins took on the bulk of the carries after the Michigan State game. After Michigan State, Blake Coram hurt his ankle. Or he hurt it during the Michigan State game. And after that, he missed like 3 games, got like 1 or 2 carries in another one. And Hassan Haskins took on the bell cow role and took on the lead back role because Donovan Edwards was a freshman. Harbaugh doesn't really trust freshmen like that. So he just put it all on the back of Hassan Haskins. And thankful for us, he could handle it. But Blake Coram and Hassan Haskins were both basically starters. They would get whoever was in a groove would get the most carries, but they really tried to get Blake Coram the most carries early in the season because he was so explosive. So if you have a play and you had Hassan in and it might break open, it's like, okay, he might get 30 or 40 yards when Blake would have went and took it 70. So they tried to feed him more at first because he's electric. He gets in the open field, say goodnight. So let's just kill that. So Blake Coram started early in the season. He's not somebody that's not used to getting carries and trying to do that. Now, the thing we're going to miss is the bell cow. So I'm just going to break down who we got, and then I'll get into it further. So Blake Coram, who's 5'8", 200 pounds. That's what he's listed at on all the sites. I checked multiple sites. He's listed at 200. He had 952 yards, 6.6 yards a carry, which is awesome, and 11 TDs. Now, behind him, you got Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards, 6 foot, 202. He had 174 yards rushing, 5.5 yards a carry, 3 TDs, and he had 265 receiving yards. He's going to be used in the passing game quite a bit because he's a very talented receiver, receiving out of the backfield. But the thing with Donovan Edwards is, yes, he's bigger as far as stature than Blake Coram, but Donovan Edwards is fast. He's lightning in a bottle. I wouldn't say he's as fast as Blake Coram because Blake is quick and fast, but he's fast. He'll take it 60 on you. So that's the thing. Yeah, we lose the bell cow, but we have this. Between Blake and Donovan Edwards, Michigan has the chance this year, if they stay healthy, to really put up some numbers in the rushing game to where it can get ugly fast if you make mistakes. So that's just what I see. I expect this. I think we had close to 3,000 yards rushing last year. These dudes, if they stay healthy, I believe they can match that. They can beat that by themselves. I got this much faith in them. And before people say the offensive line should be as good or not better than last year, honestly, with the addition of Oluwatimi. So offensive line, that's not a worry of mine. I see them being good or even better than last year. And this isn't just me being a homer or anything. It's just look up what they got coming back and who they added. That's just the truth. So Donovan Edwards, he's fast. So you got two dudes that can go 60. Like, you're not losing anything unless it's you need those tough yards. Now, so the tough yardage thing, that's where we get into the question mark. So for those tough yardage, and we don't know, Donovan Edwards may be able to be a tough yardage back, but from what I've seen, he doesn't run like that. So I'm not going to say that I think he will be. So let's see. Leon Franklin is 5'8", 206. He had 33 yards last year, barely played. Behind, and this isn't any order. Tavir Dunlap, he had 7 carries, 51 yards last year. He's 6 foot and 222 pounds. So he's got the more Hassan Haskins body type. And he's probably the third back going into the season. And then you got Khalil Mullins, who's 6'1", 236. They don't know if they want to play him at linebacker or running back right now. I think they're trying to see if he can be that. They're looking for that bell cow. So Tavir Dunlap, he got a lot of carries in the spring game. So I know they want him to be, because he's got the size and he's got the size to be that. But that don't mean he can be that bell cow. So between him and Khalil Mullins, I see them trying to see which one of them can be a bell cow and get those tough yards. And then you also got JJ getting yards when he comes in. But this Michigan running game as a total, I see it being better than last year. Well, I won't say better, I'll say more explosive. Because we'll see when we play big teams like Wisconsin, or a team that has a tough, hard-nosed defense, how good we can run on them. Because when you play teams like that, they're usually fundamentally sound and they don't give you chances to get that 60-yard gain that, you have to wear them out and then get those long gains. So we will find out if we have that when we play a team like that. So that will probably be against Iowa. We will probably find out, okay, do we have a guy that can just wear the defense out, that bell cow role? We will have to find that out. If we have that bell cow, this running game will be unbelievable. It should lead the nation in running in rushing yards easily. Because these two dudes, when we play a team with less talent, these two dudes are going to eat them up. Like every running play that's well blocked is going to be a chance to go to the house. Like, and I know some other fans from other teams are going to be like, well, I don't think. Just wait. You're going to see. If you ain't know, you're going to see. Because a lot of people don't know how highly touted Donovan Edwards was because we had two good backs. So it was hard for him to get on the field last year. But this year, he going to have a coming out party as well as Blake. Because Blake had a coming out party early. Let's remember this. In the early season, Blake was a Heisman candidate. Early season Heisman hopeful because he had like 600 yards or something, or almost 600 yards in the first 3 games, I want to say. So he was getting that buzz, but then by the time Michigan State came, he got hurt. So it kind of hurt him, and then he had a game because him and Hassan were going back and forth with who gets the most yards. Some games Blake would have like 150 or something, and then the next game Hassan might have 120, and then Blake might have like 80. So they were going back and forth like that until he got hurt. So I expect this running game to be very explosive. Like, I just can't wait, honestly. But I am looking to see who's going to be that bell cow, because when we play Michigan State's going to make sure that they stop the run game. They're going either you're gonna be able to run it on us or you're not. But we ain't gonna make it easy on you. That's for sure. Michigan State is known to stifle our running game. That's just what they kind of do. We're their Ohio State. So we know just the same way we came out last year, we know Ohio State wants to throw the ball. Michigan State knows Michigan we got to stop their running game. We got to make Cade, or if JJ's the quarterback, beat us. But we not going to let their run game beat us. That's for sure. So that's the thing. We have to see who's going to be that bell cow, who's going to be able to get those tough yards against a tough defense. Because lower level teams, these dudes going to shred them. Blake and Donovan, they're going to shred lower level teams that don't have speed and don't have a good D-line. They get in the open field, it's good night. They throwing up the deuces, 360 in a cloud of smoke. But I like what I see. I like what I see from what I saw from Khalil Mullins in the spring game. I would give him a chance to see what he can really do. Like in these early games, and I ain't gonna be on here too long. In these early games, when the game gets out of reach, you need to find out what Khalil and Dunlap can do. And you might want to, against these garbage teams, you might need to play them earlier in the game to see what they can do. Because you're gonna need them later. Unless you figure Donovan Edwards is gonna be that bell cow, which there's a question mark on that, so you might want to find out how much of a bell cow he can be, because in real games, we don't know that yet. So early in the season, they might try to give him some of those real tough yardage carries to see if he can be that dude. But if you figure out not, you got to find that bell cow. Now, Blake runs tough. I know somebody's going to say Blake can be that dude. Blake runs tough, but he's little. When you're a little dude, yeah, you can run tough and all that, but those hits and all that stuff adds up. It just adds up because you're a smaller guy. That's just the name of the game. When you're smaller, you're more prone to injury. So a small dude, it's harder for him to get tough yards like that. It just is. Like, let's just be real. And I love Blake, but I would rather see a bigger dude because Blake is 200. Would I rather have Blake trying to get a 2 yards or Dunlap, who's 222, or even Khalil Mullins at 236? That's a lot of weight. So, but you got to find out if they're physical. If they're physical like that, you can be 222 and Blake could be more physical than you. You can be 236 and Blake could be more physical than you. So you got to find out if you got that guy. That's the only question mark I have with the run game, is a bell cow going against tough teams. Tough defenses. Because lower level teams, even if we don't have a bell cow, they're going to get destroyed with that running game. They're going to get destroyed. I'm sorry. Them lower level teams, you ain't got a chance with these dudes on the field. They're just too fast. And the offensive line is going to be too good. They're going to get in the open field and they're going to be gone. So I expect these dudes to put up a lot of yards. I'm expecting 3,000 over whatever we had last year, what I think was like 2,700 or something like that. I'm expecting us to have 3,000 almost with these two dudes alone. I'm expecting big things out of Donovan and Blake, big numbers. I'm not gonna say who's gonna get the most, but with them together, I'm looking to see 3,000. If you want to break it down, that's 1,500 apiece. That's Blake having 2,000 and then Donovan having 1,000. However you want to break it down, I'm looking for them to have 3,000 yards by themselves. Them two dudes. It's lofty. It's a little lofty, but that's just what that's what I expect, and that's what I want to see out of them. If we want to be back where we want to be. But last thing, we have to find that dude because Hassan had 20 touchdowns. That's a lot of tough. Once he started getting all the carries, he was almost unstoppable by the goal line. He was almost unstoppable. If he was by the goal line, he was jumping or whatever, he was getting in. He was like automatic. Once he got his rhythm and was getting all the carries, dude was automatic by the goal line. So they're going to have to figure, and remember, we struggled in the red zone earlier in the season until he started getting the mojo, and then they started doing a little more play action bootlegs and play action in the red zone. So we got to make up those 20 touchdowns because a lot of those 20 came in big moments. He had 5 against Ohio State. So, you know what I'm saying? So we have to figure out who's that bell cow who can get, when there's not much space, they know you're going to run it, you're by the goal line. We have to figure out how to get those touchdowns, especially if Cade's the quarterback. If Cade's the quarterback, then we really going to have to figure out who that tough yardage back is on the goal line, who can make sure to get in. Because Hassan, he had jump over the pile, never dropped it. I saw Blake try to jump over the pile. He got it knocked out because he's small. If you're a short dude, you probably got small hands. So that's just what it is. So they're going to have to figure out how to make up some of those red zone touchdowns that Hassan was like automatic with. And you may have to get some of those with JJ or with play action bootlegs. And, you might have to get a little trickier if you realize you don't have that. That's my only question mark because dude was automatic. I don't want to downplay, even though I'm saying we're going to rush for more yards. Dude was a monster by the goal line. Once we got past Michigan State and Blake got hurt and we had to depend on Hassan, dude was a monster by the goal line. You could count it with him. He was either going to get a good hole and shout out to the offensive line and he would find it, or he was going over the top. And once he went over the top, you can count it. As soon as he jumped, you could put the 6 on the board. So that's the question marks to me. Do you have the bell cow and the short yardage back and red zone back? Those are my question marks. But as far as the rushing game as a whole, I see us putting up more rushing yards than last year. That's just what I feel about it. With the offensive line, these dudes both being burners, like speed kills. So that's just what I see. And we'll see how it plays out and which one of the backs, who becomes that third back, or even does it become a three-headed monster because you might be playing a team that's just a little tougher and you need somebody to grind it out. Will it be Khalil Mullins, who's 236, Tavier Dunlap, 222, or will it be Leon Franklin, who's 206? I'm not sure which one of them it'd be. I know Dunlap is probably third right now, but I think Khalil Mullins was gaining traction on him. But I'm not sure where they're at right now. Knowing Michigan, Dunlap will have the first chance at being the third back, and Mullins or Franklin they're going to have to fight hard in practice to get those scraps, or somebody's going to have to get hurt. And so that's what I see. Now, with that 3,000 yards, if one of these dudes gets hurt, that changes everything. But I'm just going off if they're both healthy and, they're both healthy and they getting the carries. You can't put up expectations if somebody get hurt, everything changes. Just like last year, you would have thought Hassan and Blake had 1,000, but Blake got hurt and he ended up with 952, missing almost 4 games. So that's just what I got on this one, y'all. I didn't want to get too long-winded, just talking about the backs, but I look for Michigan's run game to be very explosive. And I didn't even, quick thing, and I didn't even talk about the reverse game and the reverses and jet sweeps with A.J. Henning and Cornelius and Roman Wilson, because all of them, Ronnie Bell, because all of them getting involved in the jet sweeps and all that type of stuff. But I really just wanted to focus on the actual running backs. And they said A.J. Henning may be in the backfield too, so we'll see how that goes. But I really just wanted to focus on the backs themselves. But I'll touch on that when I get on the receivers. But that's what I got, y'all. I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting 3,000 yards out of Blake and Donovan by themselves. Yeah, it's lofty, but we got lofty goals, right? Right? So that's what I see. Hopefully we can find the tough yardage back. Hopefully it's Donovan Edwards and we ain't got to find it. He's already there. But that's a unknown, so I can't say he is until I see it. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.
It's great!